With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. This will be the day when all of God's children will be able to sing with new meaning, "My country, tears of thee. Sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. And where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim side. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. And if America is to be a great nation, this must become true. And so let freedom ring. From the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire, let freedom ring. From the mighty mountains of New York, let freedom ring. From the heightening Alleghenies of Pennsylvania, let freedom ring. From the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado, let freedom ring. From the curvaceous slopes of California. But not only that, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi, from every mountainside. Let freedom ring, and when they capital, when we allow freedom ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, "Free at last, free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at."
Good morning, everyone. Hello, my name is Rob Bellew. I'm the Director of Multicultural Affairs here at Bristol Community College. It is an honor to welcome you here today to our 22nd annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service and Week of Celebration. On behalf of the college community, it is also an honor to chair this meaningful event and produce our series of events for the rest of the week. Last year, for our event's 21st anniversary, given the current pandemic, we shifted this in-person annual event to a virtual day of service with keynote speaker and workshops by Dr. David E. Jones to carry forward the lasting impact of Dr. King's mission of service, justice, and equality. The recent one-year anniversary of the events of January 6, 2021, as well as the summer of 2020 racial equity protests show us that Reverend Martin Luther King Jr.'s messages and work are still imperative today. Today's event is highlighted by our special guest, Dr. Jabril Kazan. Dr. Jabril Kazan, and we're providing you a safe space to listen, learn, and share peaceful exchange of memories to reflect on the times that were and how it relates to where we are today. With that in mind, I would like to welcome our college president, Dr. Laura Douglas, to present our greetings. President Douglas.
Good morning, Rob, and good morning, everyone. I'm also so very proud to welcome you to Bristol Community College today to celebrate our annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service. I know it might feel a little bit difficult to do it virtually, but we are here and we are strong. Our annual event has always been a celebration that brings together participants of all ages and various backgrounds with one common thread: service and community. We are grateful for everyone who took the time to join us today, including members of our Board of Trustees and our Foundation Board members, our elected officials, and I see some today. Thank you for attending, Senator Mark Montigny and Representatives Alan Sylvia, Steve Howitt, and Carol Viola, and also welcome Mayor Paul Coogan, Mayor of Fall River. I also want to thank our keynote speaker, Dr. Jabril Kazan. We are so lucky to have you here today. I also want to give a warm welcome to our President Emeritus, Dr. Jack Sprague. The theme for this year's 2022 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. holiday observance is "It Starts With Me: Shifting Priorities to Create a Beloved Community." Here at Bristol, we are inspired by our college community and its resilience to continue to learn and grow in an ever-changing world, and now in the face of fear and uncertainty during a global pandemic. Our college and regional communities are resourceful, strong, and brave, and they are the reason for doing all that we do here at Bristol Community College. When the pandemic took hold and changed the way we communicated, taught, and lived, it was with our community of students in mind that we worked diligently and speedily to innovate our processes so our students could equitably pursue higher education without interruption. Time did not stop at Bristol, and we did not pause. Our college is open, whether it is in person, online, or in a hybrid capacity, and we are here for our students and community now and into the future. Our community should know that it is their time to gain a high quality and affordable education that leads them on a path to their career goals. To allow easy access to Bristol, we've expanded our remote services, our technology, our partnerships with local industry, and our educational resources in a way that is equitable for all. We are dedicated to inclusion, and we are mindful of eliminating any barriers that our community faces when seeking higher learning. Dr. King said, "The function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education." It is clear during these challenging times that Dr. King's regard for the pursuit of life-changing education is as important as ever. Whether our students have just graduated high school, are new to the English language, are balancing children and other responsibilities, or are coming back to college after years away from learning, we have the programs and initiatives in place to provide students with the skills and guidance to, with the skills and guidance to think intensively and critically, pursue their goals, and make positive changes in their communities. Together, we are creating a college-going culture and beloved community that is equitable for all learners. Thank you again for your continued support and for joining us today. Let's celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and reflect throughout the entire day on how change starts with me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, President Douglas. And before I introduce our special guest, we are going to show you a short video on the day back in February 1, 1960.
Greensboro 4 were yours truly, Joe McNeil, David Richmond, Junior Blair, and Frank McCain. We all lived in the same dormitory. I think we were all very young. I was the youngest, I was 17. I reacted to the Jim Crow South with anger. I did not believe for 1 minute that I was a second-class citizen, that I was inferior in any way to whites, greens, whatever. I couldn't live the lie. We decided to take a stand. Let's go. let's do it. So we purchased small items, sundry items, to establish the fact that we were customers. And then we sat down on this stool and asked for a cup of coffee. And the store manager told us that he wasn't going to serve us. The local establishment grossly underestimated our anger and the ability to hang in there. So when we were leaving the store, the Associated Press was there. And they said, "Hey, boys, what you gonna do?" We said, "Well, we're gonna come back, and we're gonna keep coming back until you decide to serve us." We started growing. First day 4, the second day, probably 16 or 20. It was organic. It's a mind of its own, it kept growing. We decided that whatever actions we were going to take, they were going to be nonviolent. We remained nonviolent. On the third day, it started to get rough. At any time, we could have been carried out of that store in a pine box. We didn't want to be martyrs, but we had to do what we needed to do.
I was a student at Fisk University in Nashville. February 1st, 1960, we heard that 4 young black men sat in at a lunch counter in Greensboro. We had our first sit-in Nashville on February 13th. I'm really amused sometimes because people say, "Oh, you were so brave." And the truth is, I was afraid the whole time. But the choice was to do what was necessary to end segregation or to tolerate segregation. And that just was not acceptable.
Greensboro became the message. It was like, if they can do it in Greensboro, we too can do it. And there were young people and people not so young, adults, in major cities outside of the South, participating, sitting in at lunch counters. They were picketing the stores to support the students in the South. And you had people like Martin Luther King Jr. saying things like, by sitting down, we were standing up for the very best in American tradition.
And I think that's really important for people to know that it was ordinary people, quote unquote ordinary, like themselves, who did everything for the civil rights movement, that it was really a people's movement.
These young people injected something very meaningful, something really beautiful. So you may not have a lot of money, you may not have a lot of power, but you have what Dr. King and Gandhi and others call soul power. Just using your body as a nonviolent instrument, as a tool, you can change things. You can inspire hundreds and thousands and millions of people to speak up, to speak out.
I walked away with an attitude that if our country is screwed up, don't give up. unscrew it. Don't give up. Which in retrospect is pretty good for a bunch of teenagers.
Dr. Jabril Kazan was born in Greensboro, North Carolina on October 18th, 1941. A love child, one of three children to the family of master builders, Professor Mr. Ezell Blair and Sr. and Miss Corinne Williams Blair, a fifth generation descendant of Reverend Teacher Noah R. Heaton and Miss Ardelia Harrington Heaton, founder of the New Zion Missionary Baptist Church in Warrensville community in 1897. Apostle Dr. Kazan received his basic education from the Greensboro Public Schools as a member of the Crown Scepter Club and National Honor Society. Jabril received an academic scholarship to attend North Carolina State A&T University to study architectural engineering. As an honor student and president of the student government, he graduated in 1963 with a Bachelor of Science degree in sociology and social studies. He studied at Howard University Law School, Massachusetts Universities at Dartmouth, Massachusetts, for the field of education, there. And a voice at New England Conservatory of Music. He is a member of the Kappa Phi Kappa Forensic Society and Sigma Delta Tau Legal Fraternity. Recently, he received an honorary doctorate for humanities degree from North Carolina State A&T University. Part of the Greensboro Four, Dr. Kazan was courageous through the attention that fostered through the sit-ins at Woolworth. I'd like to introduce to you today Dr. Jabril Kazan. Dr. Kazan, would you like to say hello to everyone? Should be here, so hopefully. Oh, you're on mute. That's what happens in the virtual world. You're still on mute, sir. There you go. Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Sorry
Okay.
about that.
No, that's all right. I want to thank you and the Chancellor, Dr. Douglas, and your college for inviting me here today to share my thoughts with you about the sit-in movement for the decade of 1960. I want to say that unbeknown to the four of us, we did not know that 95 years to the day, on Tuesday, January 31st, 1865, Congress passed the 13th Amendment to the Constitution ending slavery. The next day, the President of the United States, Lincoln, declared National Freedom Day. Unbeknown to us, this is a thing that comes from God himself. We were just four students 95 years later to the date that did this. And that's what I want to share with you. President, what's his name? Before Kennedy, Harry Truman, go to YouTube and look up National Freedom Day was supposed to be made into a law by Harry Truman. So this may be something that your generation could work on making it happen. But I don't want to talk too much. I want you to ask me questions and I'll try to do my best.
Yeah, so Dr. Kazan, thanks for joining us. So I would like to open up with, I think what a lot of people here in our Zoom call would love to really hear about and taking it back to February 1, 1960, where you and the rest of the other three gentlemen, which is David Richmond, Franklin McCain, and Joseph McNeil, take us back to that time and what started and how did take us through that sit-in and where you were and how you felt during that time, and explain it as you know it and as you feel.
Well, the crisis came on the night of Sunday, January 31st, 1960. we were in my dormitory room. Joseph, my roommate, Frank McCain and David Richmond were also there on campus. So we had a meeting, but my grades were going down. I was an architecture major. My father said, "You only got one more semester, and then you're going to be in the Army." No, all the way 99 pounds. I can't carry a rifle, too heavy for me. So Joseph and Frank and David come into the room, and I'm studying. And so Joseph and Frank began to challenge David. Hey, hoppergrass, because he was the state high jump champion that year when I was in high school. And I said, "Are you ready to go downtown tomorrow and have a sit-in?" And David Richards said, "No, man, I'm not chicken." So then they looked at Frank McCain. "Big Daddy Kane, are you chicken?" He said, "No, man, I'm not chicken." And then they looked at Joseph. And I said, "I'm next, man." I said, "Jojo, are you chicken?" He said, "No, man, I'm not chicken." And then they surrounded me like I was a specimen on the table to be taken apart. And I didn't look up. I said, "Easy, are you chicken?" I didn't answer. I said, "Easy, are you chicken?" I said, "No, man, I'm not chicken. My grades are going down." So we know that you're going to be marching with a rifle in another couple of months. I said, "Don't talk that. I have to do my work." So they said, "Are you chicken?" I said, "No, I'm not chicken." They said, "All we want to know." So they said, "We're going to go down tomorrow." Then a bell rang in my head. Ding, ding. My mother said, "You having trouble? You better call home first." So excuse me, guys. I had to call Mom. "Mom, ding, ding, ding. Yes, dear. Mom, can I come and talk with you about something the guys have been planning here?" She said, "You better come talk to me." Okay. So we hung up the phone. We got a ride down to my folks' house, walked in the house. "Good evening, Mother." "Hello, Dad. How you doing?" He's usually the one who's talking, but this evening he was quiet. My mother said, "What are you guys planning to do?" I said, "Mom, tomorrow we plan to go have a sit-in in Woolworths and ask for equal service at the fight counter." And she said, "Whoa, hold on here. You're gonna what?" "We're gonna shake up Greensboro tomorrow." She said, "Have you shook up your books yet? You know, you gotta finish college. You can't be thinking things out of the way." So I said, "Mom, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have a sit-in for Woolworths tomorrow. We're gonna be nonviolent." She said, "I hope we're gonna be nonviolent." She said, "What's gonna happen if you get arrested?" "Well, we plan to go to jail." "You go to jail, you can't even get out of a closet. You're gonna be in jail. You have claustrophobia?" "Well, I'm gonna try. You gotta try. Don't call me to get you out. You young men must realize you have to take responsibility for your actions. You're not children anymore. And what you're gonna do is gonna affect a lot of innocent people's lives, a lot of innocent people's lives. So what are you gonna do?" "We're gonna be nonviolent." Okay. So my parents said, "We support you." But my father didn't say anything. He was the guy talking. Mama was doing the talking. She said, "When you go down tomorrow, you're gonna wear those clothes I got you for college." I worked 8 hours a night at a bakery for 5 years, so you could go to college. And your father working too. He doesn't say too much, but we were really concerned about you. I said, "Mother, I'm going to make a law." "I hope you will." And she said, "When you go down tomorrow, you're going to dress with that coat I bought you, shirt I bought you, the pants I bought you, and the shoes." I said, "I thought Dad did it." She said, "No, I did that. So you're going to listen to me." "Yes, Mother." "Okay, get ready. We'll pray for you. Goodbye." And so that was my dialogue with my mother. And I went home that evening. As I went home to an A&T campus, I looked in the sky and there were 2 shooting stars. And I was told by my great-great-grandmother that was the sign of God in the sky. I said, "Oh man, what am I gonna do about it tomorrow?" So I went into the dormitory, prayed. I didn't sleep a week at all that night. I was tossing and turning like the song says. And the next day, we woke up, we met at the library at 1:00. Frank McCain still had his Air Force uniform on. He wasn't supposed to wear it, but he couldn't change it. So we said a prayer and we walked downtown. We stopped at a guy's store named Ralph Johns. He was an Arab American who was a Christian. And he was in World War II. And Ralph Johns had a store that he sold clothes to the college students. He was always giving money to Afro-American schools. He brought Jackie Robinson and the Dodgers to Greensboro. He had pictures of Joe Lewis, all the boxes in his window. He knew all these guys personally. We said, wow. So Ralph Johns, we told him what we were planning to do, because Ralph Johns had been talking about this for about 10 or 20 years. He talked to A&T students before us, no goers. My father had to belong to the NCP when the national office in Greensboro. Ralph Johns came to my house at age 8, when I was age 8. In the color section, he knocked on the door and said, Mr. Blair, will you ask your wife, can she feed me a meal today? I said, who is this white guy coming on Saturday and Sunday? That's the way he was. He was also a motion picture actor with the Three Stooges in California. So there's a picture of him with his head in the barrel. I remember going to watch the movies when I was a kid, 8 years old, and there was Ralph Johns in there. He was a real guy, but he was looked down upon by many of his own people because they thought he was exposing them too much. They wanted privacy. But Ralph Johns was a man who was open. He would have been the first Caucasian to be the president of NAACP in the South, but he turned it down. Right? So this is the background that I'm telling you about. So Joseph, Frank, and I and David went to his house, to his office on Monday, February 1, 1960. And we went in. Joseph wanted to buy some things. Franklin wanted to buy some things. David and I took them both there and said, Mr. Johns, we have friends who want to buy clothes. But he said, have you guys talked about sitting in? We said, yeah, that's why we came to talk to you about that. And he said, I'll support you guys. He said, here's money. He gave each one of the money, but Joseph and Frank didn't take the money because they didn't trust him that well. But David and I knew that this man was genuine, lover of our community. He'd do anything to help us. So he gave us some money, he left the store, we walked downtown into Woolworth's restaurant, the store. We purchased articles at the merchandise counter. Then we walked slowly over to the sitting counter where Caucasian people were. And we were there for a couple of minutes. And this Caucasian lady said, what do you boys want? We said, we like to be served here. She said, you know, we don't serve colored people here. Why don't you all go to the stand-up counter there? We said, thank you very much, ma'am. We'd rather sit here. So then she sent an African-American woman out who worked in. She said, what do you boys want? We said, we'd like to be served, please. You know, we don't serve colored people. That's a standing aisle over there. We said, thank you very much. We had manners. We'd rather sit here. And Frank McCain, we said, we have receipts for articles we bought at the merchandise counter. We'd like to sit here. So everything got quiet. Then the manager came. Boys, what are you doing? You're ruining my restaurant. Don't you know there's a place for colored people? We said, thank you, rather sit here. You can't sit here. He said, you're messing my business up. I'm the second one behind Mississippi for, you know, the store. And you guys will call me to fall down to the bottom of the line. We said, we're sorry, we won't sit here. Then, as we were sitting there, a policeman came in. So the manager pointed and said, get these guys out of here. You're the police. So the policeman walked behind us, taking his blackjack in his hand. I said, oh man, I hope they don't get me first. I said, I hope they get Frank and David first. But no, Frank and Joseph. Now the secret was both David Richmond and I ran track in high school at Delta High School in Greensboro. So I couldn't run fast, so I did the mile. David Richmond was the state high jump champion. So I knew if the guy started swinging the baton that I had, we're gonna go and get down to A&T with breaking the 5-minute mile. That's what I was planning. That's what Dave was gonna do. So Frank didn't say anything, Joe didn't say anything. And the policeman said to the manager, look, man, I gotta go. He said, you're a policeman. You're supposed to get these guys out of here. He said, listen, my wife has dinner ready for me, and I'll see you later. Bye. And the owner of the rest of the store was saying, what is going on here? He said, policemen are backing me up. Then a Caucasian guy, this Caucasian woman came up to Frank McCain. I said, a white woman is going to do something. We're going to all go to jail, get shot one. So she comes up to Frank McCain. She says, you know, I'm mad at you. And Frank McCain said, he's like 6'4". You're mad at me? Why? She said, because it took you so long to get here. I said, what am I listening to? This is unbelievable. So she said, Don't forget, I'm supporting you. She left. Then a Caucasian man came up to us. He said, you guys are doing the right thing. I support you. He said, he told the manager, you need to serve these colored boys. Said the colored soldiers fought with us in World War II and Korean War. Why don't you serve them? I couldn't believe this. And then he said, are you coming back tomorrow? He said, yes. He said, I ate 3 meals already because the other whites left, I ate the food. Come back tomorrow because I'm still hungry. I said, wow, what a day. And then the manager said, we got to close the store. That's why there are no pictures taken inside the store on February 1, 1960. He blocked all the front doors. And so we were leaving to go out the side door. And I forgot the name of the street. I think it was, I don't want to say it. But anyway, we went to side entrance to leave. So Frank and Joseph and David walked out before me. So I was the last one leaving. They said, come on, man, come on. And guess who I saw on my left hand as I was going out the door? 2 nuns. They were there like angels. 2 nuns from the African American Catholic Church in our community. And they were standing there. I was looking to my left. And they said, you boys, what you're doing are right. So we in our prayers. I said, wow, wait. So as I was going out the door, Frank, David, and Joseph said, what's taking you so long, man? We gotta leave. I said, I ran into angels. 2 nuns. They said, we're doing the right thing. Jesus is blessing us. They said, oh man, here you come with that religious thing. I said, they're right there. And then a reporter came up. He said, all right, boys, what's going on with you guys? Who sent you? I said, God sent us. And the other guy looked at me like, are you crazy? We didn't practice that in the dorm. I said, it just came out, BTU, Bible training suit. So the guy said, okay, we'll leave him. The reporter asked us some questions. We gave him answers. He said, you're coming back tomorrow? Yes. Do you have any guys? We got an army. We had nobody but the 4 of us. We jived that man. So we went back to lunch, we went back to the campus, and we began to knock on the doors, asking student leadership to join us. That evening, we formed a student executive committee for justice at A&T with campus leaders, some who weren't leaders. Every sect was recommended. We had gay people there who joined us. There was one of the main leaders, Afro-American guy. He was sharper than a civil bell, I would say. He dressed immaculate, but he was gay. Nobody bothered him. I think he was like one of the officers of the upper class. We had women join us on campus. We had football players join us, basketball players. And they said, one football player said, hey, you. Yeah. You're on the dormitory hall with us, 2nd floor. Yes, Big Mo. What do you want? You remember when you get through sitting in, come see me. Big Mo, why you want to see me? How in the hell did a guy 99 pounds like you be on that in the end where the athletes are? I said, they must have heard me running track in high school. Get this guy out of here. I said, see you guys later. So that was my comeback and reaction when we went to campus that evening. We formed the Student Executive Committee for Justice. That was our base group. And we also were joined by the women at Bennett College the next day. Now the Bennett College women had thought of that idea before we did. But because it was Christmas 1959, they went home. So Frank McCain was dating one of the women who would be married. And that's where he pulled up the idea. The Bennett women were first. So Dr. Willoughby Player, who was the chancellor of Bennett College, which is what they call Methodist College, she told the girls before Christmas, it's better to go home for Christmas and do it. Then when you come back, we can do something. So the Bennett women were the ones who gave Frank an idea, But Frank was from Washington, D.C. He used to go into integrated places. And Joseph was from New York. So they're used to this. In fact, Joseph was very angry because when he came from New York during Christmas of 1959, he couldn't get served. Plus, he was on the front of the bus. When he got to Virginia, he had to go to the back of the bus. Plus, he went to get meals, and the restaurant was closed. Plus, they didn't serve colored people anyway. So he was teed off when he came in the room that night. And they were challenging him. So the
No, I
move,
love here. Well, go ahead.
the movement spread, and that was the first day. And we carried on the move that night. The adults formed a citizen group to support us. And guess what? The chairman of the citizen group was with Reverend, the head of CORE, Congress of Racial Equality. He was also Boulay, the African American group that the professors belonged to. So he was in charge of the citizen group that we met at Hayes Taylor YMCA, and he's a member of Boulay, which we have permanent Afro-Americans belong to. So this is something that's not written, I'm sharing with you. And so that was set, the citizen group met, and they decided to call a truce. We only picketed from Monday, February 1 to Saturday, February the 6th, 1960. After that, the adults took over the negotiation, and we didn't start again until like the last of March, April. And so when we started back again, school was going to close in 30 days, but we had students who were still in Greensboro, and we had high school students that joined us, even kids in junior high school. They joined us during the summertime. So that's the story basic of the Greensboro City Movement, how we got started. And eventually, Greensboro decided that they were going to desegregate the restaurants, also in Cresses and other stores. But that was the day.
Yeah.
God sent us, and we did the best we could. And of course, I was able to pass my grades because my father was good. Did you sent in? Did you? Yeah. Did you pass the grade test? Yeah, Dad, I did. Okay, that's what I want to know. Else, you're gonna work this summer anyway. So I had to work with him because he's a housing constructor and a teacher. He taught geometry.
Absolutely.
And so I worked with him during the summertime. People said, "Hey, Easy, you're gonna join us?" My father got me work. He said, "You're gonna work. You're gonna work. You're gonna sweat yourself out. You're gonna be ready to go back. You're gonna be fit if they arrest you in jail." No, I don't want to go to jail. Well, you better keep painting that house then, because that's how you're going to college anyway.
Absolutely. So Dr. Kazan, I know that you have other speaking engagements in Virginia and Zoom, obviously today with different colleges. Just wanted to be, to kind of go over one thing before you have to go today. Dr. King said that we are standing by sitting, and the four of you sitting down really sparked something organically, not just with the people, with people of color, but also for many people that are allies that stepped up in, I believe, 78 different counties and cities started participating all at once. And it was peaceful protest that really showed and fought for the rights of many of us. Today in society, we see these protests happening, and that individuals are taking a stand. Some maybe not as peaceful. There's many different attitudes behind the different types of protests and things that have been happening. What would you say to, what's special about your protest is it started at a college campus, and this is a college forum right now that we're speaking, and a lot of our students, you're seeing it around the nation, are stepping up and utilizing their voices as they mature through their academic journeys. What would you say to those that are doing it today, and how to, go, you spoke about your real life experiences, things that are happening, with, your family members telling you got to do your grades and not to do those things, but you decided to take a stand. What would you say to our youth, our students today that are taking a stand for their rights, and do you have anything to add to them and that may help them, inspire them as they move forward?
Yes, sure. I thought of a poem I learned. It said, "Blessed are those who struggle to be free. Oppression is worse than the grave. Blessed are those who live and die for a noble cause, and to live and die as a slave." So I encourage the young people to learn the language where they live at, learn the language so they can read well, use that time to study, also to learn how to do meditation, meditation between the eye, and the nose. Everyone who's born on earth has that ability to meditate, whether they have a religion or not. This is the third eye, where you meditate on, get a teacher to teach you how to do that, and learn how to breathe. That's the secret that I learned. It took me 50 years to learn it. I've had some good teachers. So no matter what happens, they can live according to how they believe for themselves. They don't have to join an organization. If they want to, they don't have to, because we were all born with that within us. Whether we move, whatever color we may be, whatever class we may be, whatever job we may have, we have the gift to meditate. And that will keep us going. I think the Buddha said, remember, everything changes. Keep on meditating. Change, 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 change the fools. That's what Tina used to sing, right? Changing. So I'm happy. I didn't mean to take up your time, but I'm happy you invited me here and encourage the young people to get involved with voting. You know, we have a generation that may not be voting, and more than any other time now, we need everyone to register to vote who qualify, because there are those persons in our country, in our government, that do not want people to register to vote. They're always talking about, get rid of the vote. We want to change it. Wait a minute. This is not a communist country. It's supposed to be democracy, although it hasn't lived out its full promises, but we still got to start here. I'm just looking at the people going in space. You've got Russia, China, and the United States. What are we going to do in outer space? We need to deal with inner space on Earth as it is in the heavens. And this is the only time we have to live. We're not guaranteed we're going to live tomorrow. So I encourage the young people to come together, to have debate what we did. We had students who opposed us. We had open debate. Everybody wasn't with us. I even lost my girlfriend to another guy because he was more militant than I was. So there's a song, you can make it if you try. If we don't try, we're never going to achieve anything. You can make it if you try. You might live, you might die. Keep on trying. Keep on trying. Don't give up. We don't know what's the end of the road for us. But I don't know if I said too much.
No.
But we should support our youth. Those of you who have religion, take the children to hear the message. You know, whether it's Christianity, Judaism, Buddhism, take your kid or just take them to see somebody who can meditate with them. Because this is what we need. We need generations that can think. Come on, sugar, and think about the good things, think about the wrong things, think about the right things. Wait, I'll be losing you. You're the one that I love. I'm the one who loves you. Parents, some of us don't have children, but we can be as parents to young people. I know children come to me. They don't have a father. Lady calling children to me said, Mr. Kazan, yes, this is your daughter. I don't remember having a daughter. She said, well, it's because I know you're a good teacher, elementary school, a counselor. She said, I want my child to listen to you. Then there was a lady who invited me to her house every once a week after school, and she lived in a project. She opened the door. I opened the door. She said, why you open the door? I said, because I want everybody who's related to my wife's family to know I'm here and you can take a picture of me, okay? So she had 3 children. One was a little boy, he's about 8 or 9 years old. So I told her I'd do this so people won't think we have an affair going on. And so I started kid 13 years old, 5 years later, right? He said, Mr. Kazan, he said, I gotta ask you a question. I said, what? He said, my mother told me you were my father. She did? Yeah, you remember we came to sit in our house? Yeah, that's interesting. I said, okay, if I'm your father, I don't think I'm your father, but tell me, how are your grades? He said, I'm an A student. He said, I want to be a doctor. I said, you know what? You could be my son. Keep up the good work. And that's where I live. I didn't mean to.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for that. And you know, I know you have to get going to your next engagement here, but wanted to, you know, just having you on and you being from, you know, living in our local area and being community is what we're celebrating. I want to just thank you on behalf of Bristol Community College. Thank you for
Thank
all
you.
you've done. Myself as a Black man, being able to sit here and be able to do what I'm able to do because of those who have paved the way, such as yourself and Dr. King, and the legacies that you all have put. I mean, to me, I get emotional just thinking about it, and I want to again thank you. I hope everyone here can give you a big round of applause and thanks. Use the emojis if we can, or clap. And
Yeah.
I could go forever. I could just listen to you forever. And I know that you have something at 11, and I didn't want to hold you too much, but please, you know, again, join us again, and
I will. God
love to
willing.
have you.
I have one thing to say. The more we get together, the happier we'll be. Thank you. That's from the
Thank
first
you.
one.
Thank you so much. So you guys have just seen a national treasure, and many of us may have not know about Dr. Kazan, and a lot of the Greensboro Four prior to this. And you will see that there are resources that we have gathered. Anyone who's part of this call today will receive our information here on Dr. Kazan. Just recently, New Bedford did dedicate one of the parks across from the old New Bedford Volk to Dr. Kazan, and there's many streets, and there's a statue, and at his form at NC State A&T, North Carolina State A&T. Just such great, he's just such a great person. I can't even explain how of a great person he is. I've met him in person many of times, and I've had conversations, and I'm glad that he receives his flowers, because what him and the rest of the four did for myself and many others to pave the way is just, words couldn't even do justice to how it makes me feel. Many of us are educators on here, and that's the one thing, educators, students, and community, we're all community members. Just really, as we reflect back on today and as a day of service, what you can do to help and make our world a better place. And we all are here, so I might be preaching to the choir, but as just understand that as we go through this pandemic where we feel overwhelmed and we feel trapped within Zoom worlds, that one day we will be back together in person to have this breakfast together and really celebrate our community and build as we move forward, and that we all have part in our community. So I love to make sure that we all today can have a dream and stay together and move forward day by day. I would like to thank Dr. President Douglas for her great speech today and welcoming the community. And a special thanks to Dr. Jabril Kazan for his words today. He is truly a treasure to our local area, and we're glad to have him. And if anybody needs anything, we're here at the Multicultural Student Center, Multicultural Affairs, and we're here at Bristol to serve you. So please reach out if you do need us. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. God bless.